Come with me to source vintage furniture at one of the largest vintage markets in all of Italy, the Vintage Market in Arezzo in Tuscany. For context, a few days ago, I posted a video detailing our renovation of our forever apartment here in Florence, and it got a lot of hate. Aside from a lot of people not understanding why we would possibly need to update 70-year-old plumbing, electric, and gas, there were a ton of people that just don't seem to understand that when you buy an apartment, it doesn't automatically come with all of the furniture inside. The previous owners of the apartment were antiques dealers, so the apartment did have amazing chandeliers and antique furniture that gave the apartment a lot of charm. And so obviously when I showed the after, which is a work in progress, people were mad. So I felt the need to make this video to showcase that we are in fact looking for new vintage furniture, upcycled furniture, and artisan-made furniture to fill our forever home. I'm a designer and an artist who moved to Italy to work in the leather industry and ended up starting a brand to keep leather out of landfills and support artisan craftsmen in my adopted home. So you better believe that that ethos is going to extend to my home. I'm challenging myself to try to source as much of our interiors and furniture, either vintage, upcycled, or custom artisan made. And in Italy, that is an absolute dream to do. I mean, where else in the world could you find a store dedicated to vintage Tiffany lamps and only vintage Tiffany lamps? I have my eye on this lamp because I love the Art Deco details, but at 500 euros, there's so many other things that we need more urgently than a table lamp. But honestly, this is also a struggle because when you shop this way, you need to buy things as you see them and not when you need them. That's a rule I generally live by, even with my wardrobe and accessories. Here I am really trying to do mental circles to justify spending 500 euros on this table lamp when we need things like a rug and a couch and sitting chairs and a coffee table amongst a plethora of other things that are clearly much more important. Did I mention we have no lights? So a table lamp is kind of like the last level of lights you actually need. The Vintage Market in Arezzo is the first weekend of every single month, and the entire city is just taken over by vintage vendors. You just wander down these corridors and see all of these little vintage shops set up in these alleyways and these alcoves. Some of it is very expensive. A lot of it is really reasonable, and all of it requires you to really, really do the legwork and search, which if you love doing this stuff is the best part, as we all know. Unfortunately, for those of us who love unique design, right now the trends in Italy seem to be like what I call IKEA expensive, where everything kind of looks really cold and sterile and loft-like and glossy and box-like. And I'm not really sure where it's coming from other than possibly an export from the US, which really just makes me want to crawl in a hole and die. A lot of the more ornate decor that you typically see in Tuscan and a lot of Italian traditional decor is really out of vogue right now, but it makes it really great for those of us who actually like that style. Can you believe this vintage kitchen with this stone sink that I found? The other thing that can be kind of difficult is that some of this stuff is so big because it's coming from castles and palazzos, so it just really doesn't work in smaller apartments. I'm about to walk by a marble top and wrought iron table that literally stopped me in my tracks and made me gasp. There is nowhere in our apartment that this would work, but I just pray it went to a deserving home. Throughout the day, I lost my husband to all the free samples being offered at the Enotecas and also the Christmas market that opened the same day. A man after my own heart. I can always find him eating. This is what I came here for. There is a vendor that sources vintage Murano sconces and lamps, and I am dead. I will be getting some of these for my apartment. While I love antiques, my true aesthetic is any decor that just looks like art. And while I love these super ornate Tuscan details, I'm much more drawn to the Murano glass. So that was our day at the Arezzo market. I will show you the one thing we did get for our guest room. Everything else was either too big or not the right color, not the right size, or just way out of the price that we wanted to spend. Again, why would you get an IKEA armoire when you can get these real solid wood ones? Look at this white credenza with the metalwork inside. You just don't see stuff like this anymore. So this is the armoire that we ended up getting. I love all of the detailed woodwork, and it actually matched an armoire in our bedroom that we inherited from my husband's grandfather. So this beauty is now sitting in our guest room, and I thought she was a great find. The feet just need to be repaired a little bit. And I really hope that this puts all of the haters at ease, knowing that I fully intend on refilling that apartment with new, unique, vintage, and artisan-made pieces. So if you want to see what we find next, continue to follow along for more. Ciao from Fidense.